Have you ever stopped to think about humanity's big ambitions? You know, trying to replicate life or perfect these really complex systems.
Or even build a whole new Earth somewhere else. It's pretty audacious stuff.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we're diving into today on the deep dive. We've got two really fascinating stories. They seem quite different on the surface.
Yeah, one's fiction, one's very real.
Right. We've got this fictional tale of survival, totally alone on Mars. And then we're going to look at a real experiment, this huge attempt to build a mini Earth right here.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission really is to unpack what these stories tell us. You know, about human ingenuity, sure, but also maybe our limits.
And maybe about the incredible complexity of the world we actually live in. Things we don't always see.
Yeah, a sort of shortcut to understanding just how intricate it all is.
And as we go through these, we're really looking for those unexpected insights. Like, what does it really mean to understand the balance of life?
Whether it's way out there on Mars.
Or right here under our feet. So hopefully you'll get a fresh perspective by the end.
Okay, so let's start with Mars. The fictional story, astronaut Mark Watney.
Right from The Martian.
Picture this. Fierce storm, the crew has to evacuate Mars. They think he's dead.
A terrible situation.
But he's not. He wakes up alone, hostile planet, almost no supplies.
Yeah.
And his struggle, it's not just about, you know, staying alive. It's this masterclass in problem solving under the most extreme pressure imaginable.
He basically has to invent his way out of it.
Totally. Imagine those nights, minus 100 Celsius.
Right. Brutal.
And deciding, okay, I need to grow potatoes on Mars
Mm-hmm.
with, let's say, unconventional fertilizer.
Right, the famous Martian fertilizer scene.
And then the water problem, converting rocket fuel, hydrazine.
Which is incredibly dangerous stuff. One wrong calculation.
Boom, exactly. Every single challenge just highlights this amazing, almost desperate inventiveness.
And doing it all completely alone, 225 million kilometers from anyone?
Yeah, the loneliness must have been crushing. No emails, no calls, nothing.
Just you and the red dust.
So Watney's survival, it really came down to his science background, didn't it? His education, plus just sheer willpower.
Absolutely. He had to be a botanist for the potatoes.
A chemist for the water.
And even like a space engineer to fix that old Pathfinder probe.
Right, to get communication going. He famously said, I'm going to have to science the hell out of this.
A great line.
But what's interesting is how his individual struggle, this one guy fighting for his life, what did that eventually spark back on Earth?
Yeah, that's a key point. His solitary fight, against all odds, it actually triggered this massive global collaboration.
Right. NASA, JPL.
China's space agency got involved. His own crew on the Hermes turned back.
All united by this one goal.
Bring him home.
Yeah.
It just shows what humans can do when we actually work together on something huge like that.
And there's the interesting detail about the storm, too. The source points this out.
Oh, yeah.
Hollywood shows this massive, truck-flipping hurricane.
Very dramatic.
But NASA apparently pointed out that Mars's atmosphere is so thin, it just couldn't generate winds that strong. Not even close.
So even the dramatization kind of bumps up against the scientific reality.
Exactly. It sort of underscores how tough these environments really are, even when we're just trying to imagine them.
Yeah, reality is often more complex or just different than fiction.
Okay, so speaking of trying to build perfect worlds, let's shift gears. We're going back in time, actually, 24 years before Watney's fictional crisis.
Do a very real experiment.
Biosphere 2. This incredible, huge project down in the Arizona desert.
I remember when this was happening. Big news.
Yeah. In 1991, 8 scientists sealed themselves inside this giant glass dome for 2 years.
2 years.
The idea was to create a totally closed ecosystem, make its own air, water, food.
Like a test run for a Mars colony, basically.
Exactly, a dress rehearsal.
So connecting this back, the vision was huge. It was meant to be Earth 2.0.
Right.
And the goals were, well, twofold, really. First, could humans actually survive long-term in total isolation, ecologically speaking, for space travel colonization?
A second.
Maybe even more important, could building this mini Earth teach us more about how our own planet, Biosphere 1, actually works?
Trying to copy-paste Earth inside glass walls.
Pretty much. It was a bold move.
And it was massive. 3.14 acres.
3.14. Like pi.
The source points that out too. Maybe a coincidence, maybe not. But that scale gives you an idea of the ambition.
Definitely.
Inside this airtight dome, they built 5 different artificial biomes.
Rainforest, desert,
ocean, savanna, and a farm area.
all packed in there.
And the 8 people inside, the Biosphereans, they had this one fundamental rule, as the source puts it.
No pizza from outside.
Haha, yeah, self-sufficiency inside, total lockdown.
Sounds straightforward, but going what happened?
Right, this is where that meticulously planned, perfect world started to go sideways. Pretty fast, actually.
Despite all that planning, all that money.
Over $200 million, which apparently some NASA folks joke could have launched 2 space shuttles with change left over.
Wow.
But yeah, this glass paradise started showing cracks. Not literally, but, systemically.
It really did. And what's amazing is how quickly things went wrong. It wasn't just small stuff.
No. What were the big issues?
Well, the environment inside just started going haywire. The biggest scare was oxygen.
Oh, right. I remember reading about this.
Yeah, it dropped from the normal 21% down to about 14%.
14%. That's like high altitude, right?
Exactly. Like being permanently on top of Mount Everest, people were getting dizzy, constantly tired, short of breath.
Just trying to live day to day.
Yeah. And then there was the carbon dioxide. It went on this crazy roller coaster.
What caused that?
Well, unexpectedly, the soil microbes became super active, and even the concrete structure itself started absorbing and releasing CO2 in ways they hadn't fully predicted.
So the levels were just swinging wildly.
Totally unpredictable. Made managing the atmosphere a nightmare.
Okay, oxygen down, CO2 unstable. What else?
Well, there was this whole photosynthesis imbalance. Plants make oxygen, sure, but they also respire at night.
Like we do.
Right. But inside the dome, you also had this huge population of soil microbes using up oxygen too, especially when things got out of balance.
So the whole cycle was off kilter.
Way off. And this led to big ecological shifts, like certain pests, cockroaches, ants. Their populations just exploded.
Ugh, not what you want in your closed system.
No, they jokingly call them the real CEOs of the dome.
Oh, dear.
Meanwhile, the more delicate species they'd introduced, like certain birds, the pollinators.
The bees and things.
Yeah, pollinators, specific plants, they just couldn't cope. Small changes in humidity or CO2 and poof, they were gone.
Wow. So the ecosystem kind of simplified itself, but not in a good way.
Exactly. And even the food crops struggled. They'd planned it all so carefully, even included potatoes.
The Mark Watney special.
The very same.
Yeah.
But even the potatoes had trouble. The soil chemistry was off, humidity wasn't quite right, the atmosphere.
So even basic food production became a huge challenge.
A monumental struggle, yeah. The perfect environment just wasn't so perfect.
That's really sobering, isn't it? How quickly a system like that can unravel. And it wasn't just the environment, was it? What about the people?
Oh, the human element. That was huge too. The psychological toll on those 8 scientists.
The intelligent club, as the source calls them.
Right. Imagine the constant stress. Everything you do, even breathing, potentially affects this delicate balance.
Must have been immense pressure.
The source mentions cognitive fatigue. People literally drifting off while standing, struggling to find words.
Wow.
They even wrote in journals about, giving policy lectures to ant colonies.
Oh, okay, that's telling.
And then the conflict started. Factions formed within the group. Simple things like who manages the tomatoes became these huge diplomatic incidents.
In that confined space for 2 years?
Yeah. They actually needed a therapy notepad, apparently, just to cope. Even with smart, dedicated people, keeping harmony in that sterile box was tough.
So it sounds like a failure in a way, but was it?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? If you look at the primary goal, create a perfectly self-sustaining mini-Earth, then yeah, maybe it didn't achieve that. But its real success might have been in the lessons learned. It generated a ton of data on closed systems, on how ecosystems react under stress.
So invaluable information, even if the experiment itself struggled.
Exactly. We learned so much about what it actually takes to support life, precisely because it didn't go perfectly.
That makes sense.
And when you compare Biosphere 2's fragility, this zero-error environment where one little thing going wrong can crash the system.
Right.
Compare that to Earth. Our planet's been doing this for 4.5 billion years.
Yeah.
Billions of life forms, countless feedback loops, ways to self-correct.
Just orders of magnitude more complex and resilient.
Totally. Earth's balance isn't just adding up the parts. The source calls it a breathing symphony, held together by these invisible mutual connections.
Invisible connections. I like that. Biosphere 2's automatic repair kit was kind of left outside the glass.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So where does this lead us? Our source connects these struggles in Biosphere 2 to something, well, deeper. a more philosophical point.
It does. It takes quite a specific perspective here.
Yeah, it argues that the perfect balance we see on Earth, maybe it's not just random chance or some accident of physics and chemistry that just happened to stabilize. Instead, the source suggests it points towards something like a continuous act of creation or maybe divine fine-tuning, a system that's actively upheld.
Okay.
And it's really important we state clearly this is the specific viewpoint from the source material we're looking at today. We're just presenting that perspective.
Understood. And that interpretation in the source goes even further, right? It brings in a quote.
Yes, it quotes the Quran from Surah Mulk, verse 3.
Okay, what does it say?
It says, "He who created the seven heavens in layers. You do not see in the creation of the most gracious any inconsistency. So return your vision to the sky. Do you see any cracks?"
7 heavens in layers, no inconsistency. Do you see any cracks? What's the interpretation given?
Well, the source explains 7 heavens as being like a symbol in Arabic for completeness, perfection. And using the name Ar-Rahman, the most gracious, it emphasizes that this perfect order is an act of mercy, not just raw power.
Okay.
And the challenge in the verse, look again, search for flaws. The source interprets this as a statement of confidence in that perfect, unwavering order. No matter how hard you scrutinize, you won't find a fundamental flaw.
Interesting. So the source uses Biosphere 2's difficulties to contrast with that idea of inherent perfection in Earth's design.
Exactly. That's the core takeaway presented. Biosphere 2, in a way, served as this stark reminder, trying to copy-paste Earth, even on a small scale.
It's vastly more complicated than we might think.
Right. Our limitations in replicating nature, even with all our science, kind of point towards this bigger inherent order that we didn't engineer and can't fully copy.
It's like the experiment held up a mirror to our own boundaries.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
And the source kind of wraps that section up with a pretty direct statement, doesn't it?
It does. It basically says, look, science showed we couldn't keep 8 people alive and thriving in a sealed dome for 2 years.
Yeah.
But faith, or this particular perspective, reminds us that billions live under the sky's dome every day.
Because, according to this view, there's a creator sustaining it all.
It's definitely a powerful contrast drawn between human capability and, well, the effortless functioning of Earth's systems.
A very thought-provoking conclusion from the source material there.
So as we sort of wrap up this deep dive, it's really striking how both stories, the fiction and the reality,
Watney on Mars, the Biospherians in Arizona,
they both just hammer home the sheer mind-bending complexity of life support systems.
whether you're trying to sustain one person on a totally alien world or 8 people in a supposedly perfect bubble.
The challenges are just immense, and the results aren't always what you expect.
Which leads to a pretty important question for us living right here, right now.
Which is?
Well, if making even a tiny, simplified copy of Earth is that hard, if it relies on all these intricate balances we barely understand, what does that tell us about how we should view and maybe treat the actual Earth? Biosphere 1.
Yeah.
The one we all depend on.
That's a really good point. Our responsibility towards the real thing.
Yeah, maybe we don't appreciate its robustness or its fragility enough.
So maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to sort of chew on.
Ron.
Next time you just, take a breath or drink a glass of water. Simple things.
Things we take for granted.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just consider for a second that invisible symphony the source mentioned. All the elements, the cycles, the countless living things working together flawlessly to make that simple act possible.
Yeah.
What unseen forces, what intricate connections beyond our own engineering or understanding are keeping everything in that perfect continuous balance?
That's definitely something worth thinking about.